And we are live.
We're
Hello,
live?
everybody.
Are we live? Are you sure?
Yep, I am 100%.
That camera's a little low today. There we go. We're live. Awesome. So we've got a special couple here today with us. We got the Warhammer 40k couple with us.
What's up, guys?
I'm so pumped.
How's it going?
So I found these guys on Instagram. I was like, oh, cool. They one time I think they liked one of my posts. I was like, oh, who are these people? So I started looking at them. I started checking them out. I was like, oh, wow, it's really cool. They just got into the hobby, which I was like, oh, that's really cool. Because I used to work for GW. So I always like getting people into the hobby, because that's the best part is like when you, like the first time you see someone like roll dice and they're like, this is cool. That's like the best thing. So, and then since then, you know, y'all's Instagram is totally blown up.
Yeah,
Y'all's channel has really started blowing up. I think that's quite awesome, because I know y'all put a lot of hard work into it.
Yeah, thank you. It's really just a privilege to get to hang out with you guys this evening. It's funny, you're right. We actually started on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think the thing that really kicked it all off was some of the bases that you were working on.
Yeah, we were kind of just wanting to post some pictures because at the time we weren't super comfortable traveling with models.
Yeah.
And so some of the people in our community were wanting to see some pictures and models and different things like that. And so we started posting on Instagram, and that kind of took off, and then YouTube wasn't far behind.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, actually thinking back to those terrible videos we did initially, which we still, I mean, every time I hit play on one of our videos, I just cringe because I hate watching myself.
And you know what? We all did that. If you go back and look at FNP's videos, which we've left, I don't know what I was thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's kind of the beauty of it, is looking back and seeing how far you've come. You know, there's something really special about that.
And someone used to make comments, because we used to do our show in front of this periodic table. We have a periodic table in our living room, and it's all the places in Birmingham, Alabama, which is where we're from. And people would ask questions like, why do you have a periodic table in your house?
They probably thought it was a science show.
We're like, welcome to the science
Today
corner.
we'll be talking about boron. So we started making videos right around the announcement of 8th edition, actually, which was about this time last year, I suppose.
Because actually I had not been playing from the South, my bad. I had not been playing that long. So I started in 7th edition, and then 8th edition started kind of rolling out, you know, and they started announcing. So I was like, yay, I get to learn all over again. Yeah. So that's kind of where we started. It was really, actually really good for me, because it gave me a segue into 8th edition. So it wasn't so hard to learn when it came out. So. Right.
Well, we were having discussions, because if you guys remember, the community team, the Warhammer community website, they were rolling out those preview articles. Of like, here's these cool changes coming to 8th edition and all the simplifications and, you know, all the whole thing. And that's what we started covering. We were we were having these conversations sitting on the couch. So we're like, what if we just threw up a camera and recorded and just see what happens? And it kind of just kept going from there.
And actually, it's come a long way.
I think we've done an episode every week since that point.
We took off for Christmas.
That's right.
We took off for Christmas or New Year. I don't remember which one. It was one of those. But.
And I do like y'all's quickfire battle reports. I think it's just funny because y'all are just like, it's like a 12-minute segment. I'm just like, I just watched the entire battle report.
Right. Well, I'll tell you how those sort of came to be. Well, there's a couple things, actually. So I love watching battle reports, and you like watching them as well. And like, you guys do awesome battle reports, and there's so many amazing battle reports out there, and they're all, you know, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, they all are fairly long.
Some into 3 hours.
Yeah, and so there was a couple factors there. I wanted to create something that I could watch quickly, so something that I wanted, basically. And then also, our biggest audience was and still is on Instagram. So we were thinking, okay, how can we create something that can be, you know, quick and easy to watch, but also potentially usable on Instagram? So if you're familiar, Instagram has this thing where you can do a carousel of photos, right? So you can actually put 1-minute video clips in that carousel.
And
so
there's 10 spots in the carousel.
So the initial idea was, let's have 10 1-minute or less segments that make up an entire battle report. So you can just swipe through a whole battle report right there on Instagram.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where that inspiration came from. But we called it rapid fire because it was so rapid. So that was kind of the point.
Yeah. And so now we actually just filmed one, posted recently after quite a long hiatus. And we're actually not posting them on Instagram at this point. We're just putting them on YouTube now.
Okay.
The Instagram thing, it was cool, but just the practicality of it.
The editing process.
It was okay to edit, but it's just Instagram really chugged to actually like load. Like sometimes it would take like 4 hours and then just crash, or there were just problems, and they didn't do that great anyway. They always did better on YouTube. So that's kind of where we landed with those. But they're a lot of fun because we're getting to play a game and just shoot some quick clips and then stick it together. It's pretty easy.
Awesome. Cool. So what really got both of y'all into the hobby? Was it just the mini soldiers, or what was it?
Yeah. I guess I'll start because I guess my history goes back.
You go first because you started first.
Yeah. So when I was about 10, I believe, I was in the huge mall, and there's this huge mall in Nashville. It's like Opry Mills or whatever. It's like a huge landmark thing or whatever. And there's a Games Workshop store. So I went in and it was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And that was sort of my first taste of it. But I actually really didn't get into the hobby at that point. I just picked up like a couple books or something. I don't remember exactly what it was.
And you had that old set.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It was like a 3rd edition starter set kind of thing, which I still have that old rule book, which is pretty cool.
The Black Templars versus.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Those old Dark Eldar models.
Yeah.
They're incredible. So picked that up, and it basically sat on the shelf for years and years. But I did, that was kind of just the seed of this hobby for me. So I started following the narrative and picked up some Black Library stuff here and there and sort of stuck with it, but never actually got into the hobby. And then about a year and a half or 2 years ago,
so going on 2 years now.
Yeah, I found a deal on, was it Assault on Blackreach? I think it's like Space Marines and Orcs.
What was that, 4th edition or 5th edition?
It had to be.
I think it was 5th, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a couple back. I don't even think it was like. I don't even think it was the current edition when I bought it. So I just got like a deal on eBay or something. So I picked it up. And I was like, you know what? I just want to like build these things and kind of get back into thinking about this hobby and the lore. And so you see me working on this stuff, and you're like,
I'm
what
like,
are you doing?
I'm like, this is dumb. What are you doing? Like, why are you spending the time in here to paint this tiny little figure that's this big, and you're spending all this time? What are you even going to do with this? And then, of course, I reluctantly went with you to the game shop a couple of times.
First, the bases.
Well, I went to the game shop with you a couple of times, though. Yeah. And I was just kind of walking around, I'm not into it. I'm just kind of, I'm being a snob. And so I'm like, whatever, And so then you're like, well, get in here and make some bases for these models because you'd finish your Space Marines.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'll get in here and I'll play around with it. So I played around with some bases.
Yeah, like you did like the cork and kind of built them up to
look like. And I did some water effects and different things like that. And
somewhere in here.
Yeah, they're somewhere. And they actually turned out decent.
Yeah, I would say more than decent, because what happened is I posted pictures or showed off some pictures somewhere or something. And people were like, this is incredible. We want her to make bases for us.
So I built some bases for the display case for the Games Workshop models that are like on display in the store. There was one that was like a knight. Was it a knight?
Yeah.
I built a base for a knight, and then I still don't know what that was. A dinosaur?
Yeah, it was something from the Age of Sigmar line.
And so I built a base for that, and it had like a water effect, and it was.
But you didn't even know really what you were building.
I really didn't know what I was building.
Just coming up with these themes.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where I started, was building bases and doing stuff like that. And then the person I was building the base for was like, I want to buy you something. Like, what do you want? If you were going to play any army, what would you play? I was like, I don't know. Let Ethan have something. I was like, I don't know what I would play. And they were like, no, I want you to pick something. So I walked around the store, and I'm just like, I don't know. Well, I picked up Harlequins. and it was all downhill from there. And so that day I got a troop of Harlequins and the codex that went along with it. And you and I played Kill Team forever with that troop and your Space Marines. Yeah. I bet we played every mission in that book.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's how we started. We started with Kill Team. And so I'm actually super excited for the new Kill Team because that's where I started. And so I'm kind of excited for that. But yeah, I had my troop, you had your unit of Space Marines, and it was all she wrote from there.
Yeah, and now it's turned into a ridiculous obsession.
Craft World, it's turned into Harlequins, Death Guard, Drakari, recently Necrons.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, y'all are collecting a lot of different armies, huh?
It's bad.
Ethan's got Tau, and what else do you have?
Thousand Suns. Here's the thing: these codexes come out, and we get caught up in the hype, and so we end up like, oh, we'll just get a get started box and kind of explore these miniatures, and we try to justify it. You know how it goes.
Our game manager was like, I bought one week I bought Necrons, and I was all about the Necrons. And then the next week I come in, I got the Drakari box, and he was like, did you not just buy Necrons last week? And I was like, yes, but these are cool too, and I have to have this. And so he's like, you better paint something because we're the world's worst, like, slowest painters. Yeah. And so he's like, you better paint something. He said, next time I see you, you better have something finished. So,
what is your secret, dude? How do I get my wife to be like, I need to buy some models?
You know, it's kind of always been that way for us. We do everything together. I mean, we basically grew up together. We dated for 7 years. Yeah. We've been married for going on 5.
Is it 5?
I think something like
5.
That.
Would it be 5 in June? Yeah, 5 in June.
And we've always really just kind of been best friends. I mean, we do everything together. So this was just kind of a natural. I would say you probably were more reluctant at first, but now honestly, like you're leading the charge.
I have the problem. Like I have a serious addiction. Like I can't go to the game store without buying something. It's a problem. It's a problem.
But, you know, for us, it's a cool way to kind of just chill and have some sort of just no screens, kind of zen time to just hang out. I mean, I know like on Saturdays, for instance, oftentimes we'll, you know, go out for lunch or something and come home and just kind of chill through the evening and paint or maybe play some Shadespire. That's kind of been the thing lately.
Yeah, Shadespire because the tournament's coming up.
Yeah.
How do y'all like Shadespire? I was really thinking about like they just the new release that's coming out. I already have some of the Bloodkin guys, you know.
Nice.
I did them for like a cross slash between I painted up as Possessed.
Oh, cool.
And like, they came out with those, and I was like, well, I could get another Flesh Hound and some more of those guys, and I can play
Shadespire. Yeah. Is it a Flesh Hound or a Hellhound? What is Flesh Hound? Yeah. I love that model. Yeah. That's really, when it's painted up, it's going to look really cool.
So what do you think of Shadespire?
I love it. So actually I knew what it was before he went to LVO. I just never had played it. And I saw them playing it at LVO. And I was like, this is really kind of cool. And I could see how quick the games were turning over. And time is not my friend. I don't have a lot of extra time. And so the quick turnover of the game is like something that really drew me in because we can play in like 30, 45 minutes and it's done and we're out.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to call them skeletons. I don't know what they're called, but that's the ones that I've been playing with recently. So I painted them up like White Walkers. They're kind of cool. They're up here just chilling out, but I don't know.
It might.
I don't know if you can see that. It may not focus.
It probably won't focus.
No, these cameras tend to focus on your face.
Yeah.
But
we tried to put models.
There's some pictures of it on Instagram, but it looks like a White Walker. And I think a White Walker like from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, huge Game of Thrones fan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah. To wait that long for the next season, it's killing me.
Oh yeah.
It's the last season, I've heard.
Oh yeah, that's it.
We actually got a question. Thaddeus asked when you guys were talking about what you have collected. He said, "But no Imperial Guard. Why not?"
Actually, that we forgot. So right here on the shelf,
the catechins.
You can see my lovely catechins, or I say catechins. People say it different ways, but yeah, I love my jungle dudes. So that was about the time the Imperial Guard Codex dropped, that was just another like impulse buy.
Yeah.
So I actually have, I've got a squad of infantry painted, and then I have a Lehman Russ that I could, I guess, run as a tank commander if I wanted to. I put the dude in the top. But they're awesome because you can do so much custom stuff with them, I feel like.
Yeah.
And so I've got like, I don't know, a bunch of IG stuff that's just stacked up waiting to be built and painted.
All of my armies are Xenos, pretty much.
Yeah.
Xenos, and then I played Death Guard, but I mean, like, Death Guard is its own thing. Like, I just want like an army of those like puppies, Nurgle puppies.
Yeah.
Like I call them, they're beasts of Nurgles.
Right.
I call them Nurgle puppies because in the lore it calls them puppies.
Yeah.
If you not ever have you read that little piece in the lore, it calls them puppies because they like to hug and they're so happy all the time. But then when they kill their little friends, they get sad, and so they go into Nurgle's garden and they like get in a cocoon, and then they come out those plague flies. And if you look at the plague flies, their faces are like really sad and somber, and it's because they killed all their friends.
Yeah.
So,
I have not read the fluff on that. That's hilarious.
now you know.
You guys know that, you know, I'm a big fan of Nurgle, so I actually I've taken all the special Nurglings, because you know you can buy that one Nurgling. He comes with like some guy on his base, like a Chaos Lord or something, but you're buying the Nurgling. And so I got all those, you know, the Sassy Nurgling as well as, you know, Brave Fart. And so I have all those. I'm going to actually do a Nurgle force, a Nurgling force.
That's
awesome. Cool.
I'm going to put them to height. And I haven't figured out how I'm going to raise them up so they can be like lords and whatnot.
It's awesome.
It's actually really
cool.
Just
get some like maybe some slate or something and put them on like big rocks like they're just champions, you know?
Oh, yeah. I
pile them up on Primaris Space Marines.
Or do some green stuff like a pile, like a mountain of poop.
Yes, that's perfect.
Yes.
Those are the best. Those are awesome.
I love the little Nurglings. They take just the disgustingness out of the Death Guard models, I think. Like, they make it so much fun.
It's like a little bit of levity.
Yeah, and they just make it so much more fun. You're like, oh, I feel so bad for you because you're rotting and you're disgusting, but oh, look at how cute your little friend is.
What about Celebrity Sloppy Bile Piper?
Oh, yeah. He's all messed up.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, those are that's such a fantastic range. It really makes me excited to see what's next for like Emperor's Children, maybe.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, some of these other Chaos or, you know, Heretic Astartes that haven't had any love yet.
I'm totally waiting on World Eaters because for the last year's LVO, I painted up a Khorne Demonkin army. I painted up probably like 2,500 points worth of Khorne Demonkin last edition.
Wow.
And now it's completely like, I split it right down the middle. I was like, half World Eaters, half Khorne Demon, you know, half Khorne Demon. Right. And then now my force is, I don't want to play it as like two separate detachments. I just want to play it all together as one. So I'm waiting for something to come out for like World Eaters.
Yeah, I would love to see a Codex.
The rumor is, you know, there's supposed to be 2-3 Primarchs coming out maybe for summer or something. So I'm hoping one's a big nasty Angron, so that'll be nice. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's like you get an army and you get it all done, and then you're like, yes. And then 8th edition dropped, and I was like, no. And I was like, okay, Chaos Space Marine Codex came out. I was like, cool. And I started reading. And I was like, what do you mean World Eaters? I mean, before they did the FAQ, I was like, Berserkers are now elites.
Oh yeah.
I don't have a battalion anymore. I was just like, Jonathan was like, TJ, you are so distraught about this. And I'm like, like 6 months painting 2,500 points worth of models, and now they're like just kind of like whoop, in the trash.
Oh yeah. Well, hopefully you'll get some love.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so TJ plays the most overpowered armies, right? So he went and he decided he plays Khorne, which he can't even run. And then he decided buying a really elite army. He got Grey Knights because they're super good. And then he's like, man, I'm going to get even a stronger army. And he got Skitarii or Admech.
Nice.
He got like the trifecta of super strong armies. And I think he's very sarcastic.
Yeah, my last 3 army choices have not played out well for me.
Well,
for LVO, I had to pull out my old Space Marines. which I started playing in 3rd edition in '98. And I started playing those, and I was like, well, you know what? They're Space Marines. I'd get them into my list, and now I got a competitive list.
Yeah.
But before that, I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do, because originally for LVO, I was painting up Grey Knights. So I painted up 1,500 points of Grey Knights, and I was like, sweet. I started playing with them. I was really liking them. I was like, sweet. The Codex dropped, and I was like, suck. They suck.
You should have just owned it and been like, I'm the best Grey Knight player here.
He literally has all the lowest tier codexes right now. And that's saying something because the indexes are still stronger than his codex.
That's awesome. Well, did you enjoy building and painting them though?
Yeah, that's my problem, is that when I go to play an army, I look at the army and I'm like, these would be so much fun to paint.
I know, right?
And then I play them and I'm like,
Hey, I play Harlequins. I mean,
yeah, you're playing
let's not talk about that. Let's not. I hear good things though. I hear someone told me that the codex for Harlequins is going to be amazing. I know nothing.
It wasn't those people we saw in the Warhammer community you're all talking to? Was it one of those guys?
It was not them.
No, you can't get much out of those guys.
I know.
We've tried.
You can try to trick them with all kinds of Jedi mind tricks. And
we had Lawrence with us, and we still couldn't get anything.
I couldn't get Lawrence
anyway.
I knew he'd seen the Drukhari Codex. He knew it was coming out. He's like, can't say anything. I know a couple codexes are coming out, and one is really I'm in love with. And I was like, Dark Eldar, huh? And he's like, well, I can't say, but I'm really excited.
That's awesome.
So, like, I honestly, like, the Drukhari with their, like, I don't even know any of their rules, but just reading their narrative and reading the fluff for those rules is what got me excited, because I knew nothing about the Drukhari, and I was like, how did I miss this? Like, how did I miss this? These are, like, sick. They're so awesome. I was very excited.
That's my second favorite army is Drukhari, actually.
Nice.
I really liked them in 7th because they're so difficult to play. And like they're very challenging to play. You got to play a specific way. And after playing pretty much all Marines all the time, I started with Chaos and just playing all the Marine army. I remember when I played them and I marched them on up there like they were a Marine, and they just picked up off the board like they were an Eldar. So I learned really quick how to play them. So they're dirty.
That's one thing that helped me, I think, is I started playing Harlequins, and in 7th, they were not, they're not great in 7th. So you have to be a little bit more strategic. And I think that made me a better player starting with them, because I had to learn when to move them up and when not to move them up, and when to hide them away, and when they can be out front. And so someone on our battle report called me sneaky. Yeah. Someone said, she's a sneaky little player. And I was like, and you said, well, it's from all those Harlequin battle reports and all that stuff. So I actually think playing those armies that are just harder to play make you a better player, even if you don't win. Even if you don't win, you learn from having to be so careful, and you have to like double strategize on top of what someone who can take a lot of fire. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we had friends that were kind of like that, but they were the opposite, where they played Eldar, which is the I win button.
Oh, well, yeah.
Right? And so they didn't get good. So when 8th edition rolled out and Eldar wasn't as good as it was, they're like, look at 30K. 30K is great. They moved jump ship to 30K because it was all Marines at that point.
Yeah.
So
it was so weird to see that kind of dynamic, and they're like, 8th edition is just not tactically and fun. And I'm like, I think more about 8th edition than I did about 7th edition. Like, seriously. Like, 8th edition, like, moving, how you position your guys, the fact you can consolidate again. There's a lot more strategy involved in 8th. And I think, like, for me, 8th is huge. It's huge.
The big thing for me with 8th was that whole, okay, you got the Melta up front, and he got shot. Well, there goes your Melta. So what actually happened in the battlefield? The dude got shot. He dropped his Melta. Why is none of the other 9 guys who survived going to be like, hey, look,
like relic of a weapon, that is cherished by the chapter.
That's kind of like, oh, look.
You will pull off who you want, because that's pretty much, it's not really pulling off who you want.
Right.
Well, you could be shooting into a squad. You're not going to always hit the front guy. You're going to hit somebody maybe in the back.
Yeah.
And even if it was a special weapon, someone's going to pick it up, you know?
That's oh, brother Jonathan lost his Melta. There's a tank in front of us. I'm going to shoot
What do we do?
My bolter.
And the way I like to think about it is it's, you know, it's not static. It's always a, you know, constantly moving battlefield. So that unit, like they're in that position from a gameplay standpoint, but in my mind, they're all, you know, ducking for cover and moving around. And it's, you know, you're shooting at sort of a concept more so than a individual model, I suppose. And that's kind of just how I like to justify it when I'm removing somebody from the back, you know.
I was actually kind of relieved when I saw 8th edition and actually what it entailed, because to me it lowered the barrier of entry so much for me, because 7th edition was just so much.
Yeah.
It was just so much. 8th edition made it kind of like a pipeline where you can kind of run straight through it, and then you can play any army that comes off. So I think that that really helped me in transitioning from what 7th edition was into 8th edition. It was just like, oh, sigh of relief.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a perfect example, because like for someone like myself or TJ, we really like getting people into our hobby. And so we're always pushing it like drug dealers. Here's your plastic crack.
Right.
You know? And so like, it was so great to have 8th edition, because 7th is overwhelming. It really is. You're like, well, we're going to have a class today and you're going to learn how to play that much of the game. So it's just,
we're going to learn how to shoot.
So many, here's the shooting phase. Week later, here's the assault phase. Like with 8th, it's like everybody, you can get anybody. It's getting so many people into the game. It's getting it where they can join my hobby without overwhelmed, and they can, here's your free battle primer. Everything's really nice and simple. So I love it. This is probably,
we actually kind of did something of the same. So when we were starting to learn 8th edition, we didn't start with a psychic phase. Remember, we left that out while we
7th.
Well, no, 8th edition.
Oh, okay.
8th edition, when we learned how to play, when we were running through the stats. We left out the psychic phase so that we could learn what it was like to run through a normal game if you didn't have psychic powers. And then after we had ran through the game, you know, like a normal game would be if you didn't have psychers, then we added the psychic phase in. You remember that?
Yeah, which is funny because I think we were thinking back to how complex things were from 7th.
And then we were just like, this is not that hard. Let's just play.
Yeah. It's very true. With 8th edition, it was just, you just play. Like, I remember the first time, like, the first battle report we filmed right when 8th edition dropped. We all got it that night. We went over to Jonathan's house the next day. And Jonathan and John were playing. And they were like, hey, TJ, so you read over the rules? I'm like, yeah. I read over the rules. I read over them like 5 times. I'm like, I'm pretty confident. And they're like, so when I move, I just move, right? And they're like, yeah. And there was like, so this is, and they were like, so when I advance, I was like, yeah, you add your move distance and just roll a d6 and that's your advance move. And that was it. I was just like, they're like, that's it? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, so when I just roll the wound? And I'm like, according to that, yeah, you shoot, you hit.
Where's my chart?
-1 IP, modifier.
Right.
Okay, so you got a 4
to 1 and divide by X.
Yeah. It's nothing complicated. I was just kind of like,
dude,
weird. This is like easy.
The problem was it was too easy and we were overthinking it. So we were like making extra stuff that didn't exist because we're like, no, it can't be that easy. It's got to be convoluted.
It all fits on your fold-out pamphlet. Of course it's that easy.
I think the best people to watch play, if you have questions, is someone who's never played. Because for them, there's no preconceived notions of what previous editions were. So they're just if someone's just going by those core rules for 8th edition, then you're getting kind of the most, I guess, pure look at the new rule set.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Lawrence, TJ? I think like we were chatting with Lawrence. I was like, dude, what is going on? He's like, look, throw out 7th edition. It was a different game. You know what I mean? Like this, it's not even the same game. Pretend that's a completely different game, and 8th edition is a new game with the same models. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, like me and Jonathan were playing, right? We were playing. I was playing my Admech, and he was playing his Death Guard. And he was like, yeah, they're a unit. I'm like, yeah, they're a unit. And we like really started talking in depth about the unit, and we were like, you know, and they were like, well, you know, they could separate and whatever. I'm like, well, no, it's got to have the rule in the rule. You know, even if they're vehicles in their unit, if it doesn't have the rule that they're a squadron, they can separate. They got to stay as a unit. And then like he was like, oh, I did a mortal wound to everyone, and I'm like, nah, it's a unit. It just does one mortal wound to the unit, so it doesn't matter that I have like 6 Iron Striders sitting right there. You just did one mortal wound to the unit, and that's it. It doesn't carry over to each person because I still have to maintain coherency with them. I just got to have them in 2 inches. They don't, you know. So it's like it's so easy. You're just kind of like.
Because everything's in the profile, because it says with the vehicles now in a squadron of vehicles, you deploy them as a squadron, but then they act separately in themselves
if they have that rule.
Yeah,
right. like on the Skitarii stuff, those Iron Striders and all those other ones.
Yeah,
they are a unit. There's no squadron or anything. They're just a unit. There's no special rule for it. So like it's funny because you're like, oh, this one, oh, that one's got that special rule. This one doesn't. So you're just kind of like, it's kind of weird. I have like giant models and they have to stay within 2 inches of each other. But you know, it makes sense.
Yeah.
What is that? Like the big model, and it has the little friend that helps it, and you have to move it together.
I don't know.
I forgot what that is.
Yeah.
What was that? It was like a huge knight, and it has like.
I think
was it a knight, or was it? And it had like a little friend, and like you had to get the friend within like 3 inches.
Well, I guess that's if you wanted to benefit from like a
it had like
priest or something.
Yeah, it had like a healing, and like every time it was.
Yeah, I don't think you had to keep them together.
But like if you wanted to get it, you had to keep it, so it was like right underneath.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's so funny. You see the pictures and you see like there's like a Dread Knight here on the bottom level, and then you see like a troop of squads on the second level, and they're like, can that attack it? I'm like, no, it technically can't, because the monster can't go up on the second level, and it can't get in base-to-base contact with them. So the guys are up there just shooting.
They can shoot it.
Guy can't shoot me.
Yeah,
but that's the rules as written.
And so the same thing, like even with the Defiler. Right, so the Defiler's model part. Let's say you know how the Defiler's big. And you got guys on the second floor. Like technically, like you can get an inch of them with your model. You know what I mean? So Dreadnought, you can't always inch.
Yeah, interesting.
Man, you know, I mean, like I really loved 8th edition. So what is y'all's favorite army? Is yours Harlequins, Amanda?
Yeah,
obviously,
totally
it has to be, because like, and the army that I play normally is 100% Harlequins. Like there's nothing else in it, and that army is fairly big. I would say it's way over 2,000 points.
Yeah.
So it's way over 2,000 points of just Harlequins.
Yeah.
So definitely yes, but if I had to pick a second, it would have to be the Death Guard. Because the Death Guard models and the Death Guard narrative are amazing. Like I just and obviously with some Nurgles freaked in there because of my great unclean one up here and my 60 Poxwalkers that Ethan got for me. 60. There's 60 of them up here.
It's a small start. That's a good start.
Yeah,
but
right.
Oh,
I just wanted to see what that many looked like.
I think he wanted to drive me insane. So I painted 60 Poxwalkers, and I tried to make them all look a little different because I was, I don't know, I guess a glutton for punishment. But yeah, so I painted 60 Poxwalkers, but I really like Nurgle and I like Death Guard. That would definitely be my second.
Yeah.
How many Poxwalkers do you have, Jonathan?
250.
Holy crap.
No.
Those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those numbers up.
Get the numbers up, Amanda.
That is a lot.
I need some more Poxwalkers is what you need.
250 painted and based.
Wow. I bet it looks incredible. You just fill up a whole table with them.
Yeah, LVO the first year I brought 120. At the time it was 7th edition, so they were just Typhus zombies.
Okay.
I had all of them because mine's a mixture of Sisters of Battle, Cultist, Imperial Guard, and all of them are modified. Like, so all my Imperial Guard have a lot of like the zombie bits from fantasy.
Cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Their arms are like slagged down, or
that's awesome. Well, for me, I think my favorite are the Thousand Suns. For one thing, they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
I love that
really
like
pretty.
Baroque armor and kind of the Egyptian motifs I think are really cool. But the narrative I think is so awesome. Like it's so tragic. Just that Magnus, he he really, I feel like, wanted the best for his Legion, you know, and the best for the Imperium, and he kind of messed things up, I guess. But it's just such a tragedy, you know.
I feel like him and Mortarion just have so much in common.
Well, yeah, maybe.
They tried to do the best for both of their legions.
Oh, true.
And then they both had to be like, well, I guess this is the best thing, and you know, they gave over to chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Magnus did nothing wrong.
Mortarion was just like, I'm trying to save my legion, and he was like, this is the way to do it. So
it's okay. Yeah. They were all like, Daddy's mean to me, and they, you know, they're like, Horus is nice to us. Daddy was mean to us.
Right. Yeah, I really like them. I think that's probably going to be, well, right now I'm working on Tau, but I think I'll probably loop back around to Thousand Suns in the near future. I say near future. As
we get really sucked into narrative.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed, like we heavily read, and so like when the codexes come out, like we just buy the codexes and read them. Like we may not even play the army. Like I bought the Demon Codex this past weekend. I need it for the Great Unclean one, like the psychic powers, but I want to read the narrative too, and just. I just like reading about the stuff that's going on. So that's kind of how we get sucked into buying all these models and starting all these armies. We just get so excited about the narrative, and we're like, this is so cool, and just keep continuing on that way.
I've got to show off my Ahriman. I know you can't really see it probably, but his disc is supported by pink horror hands coming up out of the lava.
Oh, that is cool.
So you can probably see it better. I'll post some stuff on Instagram, but
he really looks
I was really proud of this one.
Yeah, guys, if you don't know, the Warhammer 40k couple, they are their YouTube channel is linked in our comments right now, so check the comments after the video is posted, and of the actual display name, it's right there at the top, and be sure to subscribe to them. They're awesome, obviously.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys are awesome too.
Oh, thank you.
So
yeah, sorry for the southern accent. It comes out really bad sometimes. I'll apologize ahead of time. You're from Texas, so you understand.
Books?
What'd you say?
Sorry. You read a lot of the Black Library books?
You read it.
I've read a small chunk of the Horus Heresy stuff, and then I'll kind of pick things up here and there that look interesting. We definitely try to keep up with the codexes though more than anything.
That's mainly what I read is the codexes and the White Dwarf when it comes out to keep up.
TJ, you got a small collection, right? Like the entire Black Library?
I have an IKEA shelf full.
That's awesome.
Black Library.
Yeah, so right when you guys were talking about fluff and narrative, the TJ was like
I think it's a perfect emoji for that.
So yeah. I love the stuff. I've the first book I picked up, I think it was in '98, and I picked up Space Wolf.
Nice.
Which was the original series. Like if you like anything about Space Wolves, the Space Wolf series was written by William King, but it was based on Ragnar Blackmane.
Okay, cool.
And him coming up from a blood claw.
Awesome.
And so it's a really good series. And then the Horus Heresy. If you haven't read the Horus Heresy, once you start reading it, it's hard to put it down because it is so good.
We hear that a lot.
Oh yeah, I think I'm on. Let's see, which book. I'm not as far as I should be probably. I just finished the first Alpha Legion one.
Oh, okay, Legion.
Yeah,
that is good. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like.
That pulls us into Leon asked a question. Why is no one talking about Alferis?
Oh yeah, that model. Oh my gosh.
Because you can't see him. He disappeared.
Well, I still want to know which one's Alfarius.
Is he the guy on the ground or the guy with the staff? I'm
exactly. Which one?
He's actually probably just a random, Marine in the battle line somewhere.
He's like, you take the staff, go kill this guy.
Right.
And you're me, and I'm just going to stand back and cheer you on. But no, the Alferis model is amazing. It's not the best model they've put out from Forge World when it comes to a Primarch, because that's definitely Rogel Dorn, but we'll just leave it at that.
Someone's a little biased.
I mean, Mortarion is probably the worst model they've put out.
Yeah.
He just smells bad. You can smell him from here, John.
Good.
No, but definitely it's amazing to see what those sculptors can do.
Oh yeah.
I so want to go over there and go to a Horus Heresy open day or something like that where you get to meet some of those guys. But yeah, that would be that's my dream. That's my dream, is to go ahead over there and do one of those, like a Black Library conference or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah, those models just blow my mind. And so there's there's the Deepkin that are just unbelievable sculpts.
I don't even want to talk about it.
I don't even I kind of play Age of Sigmar in a way because I have Nurgle demons, so by association. But when I saw those, I was like, oh, yeah. I might start a Sigmar army.
I like the model that has the octopus friend.
Yeah,
that's really cool because it's like, I don't know, like you've said before, it kind of reminds me of the Tally Man.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a scroll and he's writing, and then the octopus is hanging out and he's holding stuff, holding scrolls and holding pins and different things. I think that's cool.
Really cool.
Obviously, the one that's got the cape wave is that's clutch for sure. But and then the turtle. Do we need
that turtle's pretty awesome. I really want to know how do they work? Are they in the water? Are they?
So they have a special rule.
Yeah. Well,
or it's something in the lore.
Yeah. So it was posted this week on the community site. It turns out they have these dudes who summon this Aether Sea, and the longer they're on land, the more the land transforms to be the ocean floor.
Yeah, and so coral sprouts underneath them and different types of things. And so it's they bring the ocean with them. Yeah. So it's they're always in the ocean. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool.
And apparently
more now.
Yeah. Apparently there's some rules that have some effects based on that as well. I don't know. I have no context really for Age of Sigmar. But
I want the boat, the ship that's the sunken ship. That looks cool. Right. That would just be cool for anything.
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
Awesome,
yeah. It looks really cool.
Yeah. I mean, I literally, I played Age of Sigmar when it first came out. And me and Jonathan, I think the first game we played open play. And he was playing Nurgle demons, right? So in open play, you can just summon. So he was just summoning, I was just you summon another unit of Nurgle? What the hell? He's like, oh yeah, they just summoned another Herald. And I'm just yeah, it sucked. I was killing things because I was playing Khorne. I was just killing things, but I was just oh my god, he just keeps on summoning things. He's oh, I ran out of models, can't summon anything else now. I guess we can just normally play. And I was
I guess the game can start.
Is it over with yet?
I had double the army. It was ridiculous.
So I have Daughters of Cain that I bought. I bought just the a unit of the ones that have the snake bodies. I don't know what they're even called.
Yeah,
I don't really know what they're called, but they have the snake body, and so that's the only Daughters of Cain that I bought. I really just wanted the what is it called?
Battle Tome.
Yeah, it's called a Battle Tome. I play so much Sigmar, you can tell. I just wanted the Battle Tome to kind of read the narrative, and because I was super interested, and I'd read what they'd put on the community site, and I wanted to read all that. Well, then I want to paint the snakes in that green color. Have you seen that color scheme where the snake body is green, and then the top, the hair is like a pink kind of color, and it looks really cool. If you haven't seen that, you need to look it up. Yeah. It looks like a pretty little garden snake.
It will murder you.
It will absolutely destroy you.
That is awesome.
They definitely have a lot of good conversion stuff for even Drakari.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was dude, those are witches right there. Alternate witches.
Which I think that's so cool. I like the Age of Sigmar line. It's just I'm so invested in 40K. I'm just man, anything that comes on my painting plate, I'm just oh, Age of Sigmar, and then I'm just oh, Custodes. I was oh yeah, and then they just got the new me and Jonathan split a box. We both bought a box of Forgebane, and so he took all the Necrons. I took all the Admech, and I'm just I don't really need any more AdMech, but I'm just like, well, I need more rifles and some other things from the guys. And I'm just like, now I need armor-glazed war glaze. I've got these cool walking knight things. I was like, when can I paint them? And I'm like, but I got robots to paint. So it's just like, it's always one thing after the other.
Oh, yeah.
I know, because literally have not opened the box of Daughters of Cain.
Yeah.
Like, and I bought that month, like 2 months ago, probably.
That's my thing. I was chatting with someone on Instagram. Someone had commented, or maybe it was on YouTube. They were like, "Do not start an Age of Sigmar army. If you start one, I'll have to start one." And my wife
will get mad.
And I responded, and I was like, "Well, you probably don't have much to worry about because my backlog is just so deep. Like, it would be months before I even got to it."
I don't think we know the joy of finishing an army. Like, I don't think we know that joy.
I don't know if anybody knows the joy of truly finishing an army, right?
I think if you are a true hobbyist, you are never finished painting because there is always something to paint. If if you're not painting something, then you're doing something wrong.
That's why I'm on like 9 armies.
Oh.
I have too many armies, and my Death Guard is pushing 25,000 points now.
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy.
Wow.
I remember when I had such good intentions to paint my Death Guard army. They're even put together and they're base coated, but they're not painted.
Yeah.
So what I did with mine is, because mine, when Morty came out, I painted him straight. It took me 2 weeks to get him perfect.
Oh God.
I spent so much time on him. Because I can normally pop out a Death Guard unit pretty quick. And with Morty, no rushing. Spent so much time. And then, so I took a hiatus a little bit from Death Guard. And then I started painting all my custodes that I had. I have 30 custodes I was painting. And I was doing 4 highlights of gold. And I was like, super out. I was like, yeah, these are awesome. And then you look back and you're like, I can't see any of that gold height. You know, like, you have to hit the light just right. So you'd be like, oh, look at the 4 layers, you know.
Right.
And then, so I was like, man, I'm going to get so consumed with these. I need to do my Death Guard because all this stuff started coming out. I bought everything. And then I was like, all right. So I sat myself down. I was like, look, Jonathan, you're all these Death Guard, and then you can paint your custodes, okay? So I've been pumping out my Death Guard because I want to get to the custodes.
What is his name? Andrew from Heroic Intervention? Heroic Intervention?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what was it? We had this pact, like him and I and you, we had this pact that we weren't going to buy anything because he was trying to get some Tyranids finished.
Yeah.
I was going to get Death Guard finished, and I don't know, you were doing Thousand Suns.
Yeah. And
we were all going to finish, and we had this pact that we were not going to buy anything. Well, you fell off the wagon first.
Immediately.
You fell off, and you bought 2 huge boxes of towel, and I like freaked out because that's not fair. Because I was trying to be so good. So then... Because then you were like, well, I'll be good now, guys. It's like, it's too late. You've already fell off the bandwagon. You can't come back after you fall off. So it left me and Andrew alone. Well, then I couldn't just let this huge towel army stand. Like, that's just not going to happen. I went to the game store and bought stuff. And then it was Andrew alone, and I don't know how he's doing, poor guy. I hope he's doing well. Because he's the only one left as far as I know. Because we both fell off real hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
God, that is hilarious. It's so hard to like, because with GW right now releasing all the codexes, and you know, I have like 4 or 5 armies. I have like 4 armies. So like they release something, I'm like, oh, well, I got to work on this army now. And it's just, and then they bring out new models, and you're just kind of like, they're making it hard for you to be able to stay and not splurge and like hoard armies.
I know.
It's pissing me off.
It's almost like they want you to spend your money in their store. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. What are they thinking?
Or your store, actually. That's better, right?
Yep.
I mean, like literally with Necrons, like I painted up a unit of 12 warriors like a year ago because I really thought I was going to play Necrons. And then like, and now they just came back out, and I'm like, well, I got to get my Custodians and Grey Knights done for the next tournament we're doing in May. And I'm like, but I'm flinching. I'm just kind of like, it'd be nice to paint Necrons now. But I'm just like, I can't do it. I must finish these.
And
it's killing me.
Because of TJ, he's like, hey, you know, we can split the that box. And I was like, I just sold 10,000 points of Necrons. I was just like, I need to get rid of an army.
Right.
And now I have Necrons again.
We're back in.
14th game. So
we were at Adepticon.
Yeah.
We were at Adepticon when Forgebane dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what you were doing, but we were not together. And I just went off and bought Forge Bane without you. And I was just like, oh, I'm just buying this box. And then like I met with you later on, and you were like, where did you get this box? And I'm glad that I saw you, because you probably would have bought one too, and then we would have ended up with two. But I just was like, I'm gonna go buy this box. Actually, it would have been perfect, because then I would have ended up with double the Necrons.
There you go. See.
Oh my God,
missed opportunity.
I was telling people that, so we were walking around with the box.
This is horrible.
And I was telling people that, I was like, yeah, we're really excited. I can't wait to use these new armatures for basing for my Riptides.
Nice.
Oh my God.
That didn't go over
it was
well.
Amazing.
Oh, and it's Tau. That's a hot button topic.
I know, it's perfect. It was just so much fun to see people's reactions. Like,
they were horrified.
Are you kidding me?
That's good.
They were horrified.
I actually kind of want to have one of the Riptides, like jump kicking one off of its feet, you know?
That'd be cool.
It'd be pretty cool.
Like have it like, jump kicking it and have it like shooting at it. And that'd be, and that would be pretty epically awesome.
Yeah.
How would you put that on a base?
I don't know.
You'd need a heck of a base
to put that
on.
Or have one that's just like bored straight through from like the gun from the Riptide. So it's just, you can see right through it, and it's just a smoking hole.
Dude, you could actually use like a flaming torch to do it so it really looked melted.
That's a great idea.
Don't give him ideas.
I like it. Put some LEDs in there and put some like little cotton fibers, you know, so it has like a smoldering effect.
He'll have that done in a year.
Yeah, give me a year and a half and done.
It only took you 6 months to paint Armand.
Well, my problem is I just get distracted.
You have excessive compulsive.
Well, that too. I get
painting
way
disorder.
way too caught up in the details.
Look into some neon paints to get that nice, fresh, heated look to it.
Yeah. Just like it's still glowing from the shot. That would be awesome.
There was a model at Adepticon. I don't remember what it was. You remember that lava man? He looked like he was on fire.
Yeah, we posted a photo and people kept asking if it was lit, like if this model had LEDs or something. And the object source lighting on it was just so perfect.
It was amazing to the point where it looked like it was on fire.
Yeah, I don't think it was a Games Workshop model, but
I don't remember what it was. It looked like,
they do that same kind of like glowing red around the hole.
It was cool. He was cool. That was a cool model.
Yeah.
So a few things in the comments. Somebody had mentioned that they had some unopened boxes still, and I said, I think all of us have unopened boxes.
Gosh, yes.
And everyone in the chat was like, yeah, I got this.
I have no unopened boxes.
Really?
Wow.
As soon as I buy the box, I open to check it, and I'm like, everything's in here, and then I close it back up.
Okay, that's
cheating.
I have a box of unopened Necrons. I have a box of Daughters of Cain.
How many armies are just like chilling in boxes? Like,
there's no telling. Like, it's probably like sad how much we as hobbyists probably have sitting in storage, like waiting to be painted.
Right.
Like, we could probably start a Games Workshop store with all of that and be like,
just the resale.
Just the resale of like, this is what's been sitting in, like, waiting to be painted for years. I know, like, one of the guys we talked to at Adepticon, he was like, I have a shame corner. He called it his shame corner. Yeah. He was like, there's a corner in my hobby room, and I call it my shame corner because I buy things and they just stack up and I never paint them. And he's like, they just sit over there and don't get finished. And he was like, I tell no one to look in that corner. It's my shame.
I'm the worst. I still have a Warhound Titan that my wife bought me for Christmas 2 years ago now. It's sitting because I am scared to death that I'm gonna mess it up.
It's like painting paralysis.
Yeah, I'm just like I want to paint it. I'm so scared to put it together. I'm just like, if I F this up, she will kill me.
Yeah.
I have a whole shelf of a lot of unopened stuff, and I always pull out because I have a bunch of like Betrayal of Chaos and a bunch of like all the big box sets and everything's in there. And I was looking for stuff because I use them as storage sometimes, and I always I pull out one. It's like a Betrayal of Chaos that has like 2 Betrayal of Chaos, one of the other 30K type sets. and I stuffed inside of it like all the Death Guard shoulder pads. I have like all the Death Guard little size, and they're all forgeable, just all sitting in there. And I'm like, oh, put it back on.
Put up to that.
That's a project for another time.
It's like the scene from Indiana Jones, just rows upon rows of crates.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh man.
That's awesome.
Man, I can't.
So Ben in the chat, I guess he generically just blasted it for everybody, but what are you guys' main armies? I read that exactly how it was.
Yeah. Well, I think for you, I mean,
definitely Harlequins. Yeah, that's like the biggest and the thing that I play the most because obviously that's like my first love. I'm always going to go back to Harlequins. I may cheat on it every now and then, but I'm going to go back to Harlequins.
Yeah. It's probably hard for me to claim a main army because I have so many that are like small fragments of a actual.
What's your favorite?
My favorite's Thousand Suns, though, for sure. Yeah.
I was going to say you could say Imperium because I have a lot of different Imperiums that I can combine them all into one army.
You would have a nice Imperium army. You could play all your stuff together.
Yeah, that's true.
Mine is obviously Death Guard, obviously. DJ.
I have my Obsidian Knights, my own home created Space Marine chapter.
That's cool.
When you've been playing something for, God, this year it's going to be almost 20 years. So yeah. I'm an old man. God, yeah, I've had that army since I initially started playing 40K. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Felipe?
Black Legion ever since Rogue Trader.
Black Legion.
Oh.
Nice.
Black Legion's cool.
Yeah.
They've got a cool story.
Yeah. Yep. They've got the biggest crybaby as their leader right now.
You know, when I started Chaos Space Marines, I didn't know better. I started Black Legion until I started reading about Nurgle, and I was like, oh. So then I found out green stuff, and my Black Legion just got some green stuff put on it, and then painted over.
Nice.
The best thing about playing Black Legion, at least to me, was, hey, I can have Armed Berserkers, I can have Death Guard, I can have it all.
You're cheating.
You
want it all, so you play Black Legion.
Pretty much. Exactly.
I like it. I think that's a good plan.
Ben said, this stream is actually motivating me to painting.
Nice.
Well, that's what we do this stuff for, man. That's what I think all of us do, is to motivate everybody else out there, because it also motivates us to keep honest to ourselves and create stuff for you guys. So.
I mean, I want to be honest. I was so annoyed on Friday. I was going to do a live stream of me painting, and the webcam I have it won't focus right on like me. So I'm gonna post a video, but I basically filmed it on my iPhone of me painting for like almost an hour, just straight up painting. So I'll put that video up on later. But it's one of those things I want to do a live stream so people could see my painting techniques. Yeah. But I'm gonna have to redo on what kind of camera or something I can buy to actually film me live streaming the paint, because I got a Logitech. I got a pretty nice one that films at 1080p, but it won't focus in on the models properly.
Yeah,
show it. So I got to figure out. I'm gonna try to hook up my video camera to my PC if I can stream it from there.
Something we've done before. So we have the same issue. We've got like a Logitech webcam, and same thing. It has trouble focusing, you know. So we have a DSLR. It's like an old Canon T3i or something like that. And I've actually hooked it up with just like the cable that you connect to your computer, and then you run OBS or whatever the streaming thing is, and so you run the Canon like capture window, and you set the window to the live view, and then you use the tool in OBS to capture just that window. Right. And so it actually broadcasts just the live view that the camera's seeing. I mean, the problem with it though is there's probably more delay from through all those apps than you want, really, because it's going from the camera to Canon's capture thingy to OBS, then out to Twitch or YouTube. So it's a little slow.
It's got a little bit of a delay.
But it works. I mean, and you can, of course, focus, so that's nice.
And then we also use the gimbal to...
with the iPhone. Yeah. Just like you've seen our little gimbal.
Oh, yeah. I talked to you about it. I need to get one of those.
Yeah, that thing is a lifesaver.
I actually, during Black Friday, I bought the gimbal with the camera.
Nice.
I was messing with that for a bit, and I was putting it on the table, you know, doing this and screwing with it. And it was a point where I was like, man, that's $300.
Yeah.
I took it back.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I know the handheld one for the phone, that's only like $150.
Yeah. No, it's not bad. Their new one, the new one from DJI is like $129.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
And as much as we film like in that kind of scenario with the gimbal, we needed that because the stabilization for the motion and the movement was just something that we needed really badly.
Yeah.
And, you know, it has the same kind of stabilization as the DJI drone does. So, you know, the drone and the gimbal have the same kind of motor and functionality.
Cool.
Yeah, I seen the drone. I was like, hey, they got a drone.
Yeah.
You guys actually want to talk about your other channel that
Oh yeah.
So FNP Wargamers is also interested in it because myself, I like to lift weights.
Yeah.
It can be an added benefit to the channel.
Absolutely.
And so tell everybody about it.
Yeah, so we kicked off a little project called Wargamer Fit, partnered with Dave from Mini Wargaming and Jason from Frontline Gaming. And the idea was that there's a big kind of neglected part of the community, and it, like health and fitness just kind of ends up on the back burner for a lot of people.
And it's because it's kind of a stationary hobby
where
you're sitting and painting for long periods of time. And so we were trying to get, you know, when you're not sitting and painting, you know, either you might be sitting at work or you're not moving a lot. And so that extra time that you're outside of the hobby, you can spend moving.
Right.
That's kind of was the focus.
Yeah, and the idea was just put out some simple tips and tricks and things to just think about creating healthy habits. So, I mean, it's just very basic, rudimentary stuff that we're putting out there. And for Dave and for Jason and for us, we're all just kind of coming at it from a slightly different angle.
And we all have different challenges that we're trying to meet. Like, I know Dave is training for a Spartan race, and I'm not really sure if that's something that we're supposed to do or not yet. Supposedly in September, is that when it is? Is it in Ontario? I
think so.
It's on Ontario. So that's something we might be doing, might not be doing. I don't know at this point. That's still on the burner. And I know Jason's doing some like bodybuilding competitions and things like that. And so we've kind of been in fitness for 4 years now, like going consistently.
Yeah, like really taking it seriously.
Yeah, and so we've kind of been in that scene for 4 years. And so this was something that was easy. It was an easy step for us. And so we're obviously by no means experts. We just kind of know what works for us and know what kind of like functional fitness is, things you can do with your body that you don't need a lot of, you know, equipment for, those kinds of things. And so that's kind of what we're pushing, is because obviously if you have extra money, you're going to go buy models. Like, you're not going to go and buy equipment for the gym or something like that. You're going to want to spend it on your hobby. So you can like do some of the things that we suggest and not have equipment. Like, you can do air squats with your body. You can do sit-ups. You can do pull-ups, and you can do push-ups and those kinds of things, and you don't need equipment to do those kinds of things.
Yeah, and a big part of it is just thinking intentionally about it. That's really the starting place, is just thinking about, you know, actually drinking water throughout the day, cutting out sodas and sugary drinks, getting rest, moving around, just getting up every, 15 minutes here and there and walking around, and just starting to have those foundational kind of, healthy habits. So yeah, we want to get everybody involved. I mean,
we actually issued a challenge this week. It's actually for the month of April, and it's called the 30-30-30 challenge. And so it's 30 sit-ups, 30 air squats, and 30 push-ups. And you just do that along with it's like your extra credit for your workout. So you do your workout for your normal day or whatever. Like, ours is more of a CrossFit style. And so our workout changes daily. And so we'll do this 30-30-30 challenge in addition to our workout each day. And so it's just kind of like your extra credit. It's kind of get you ready for bikini swimsuit season.
So have you guys tried doing a extra credit push-up after like a leg day or an upper body?
Yesterday. Yesterday was back squats and double unders and pull-ups.
Yeah.
And we did the 30-30-30 after, and push-ups was hard.
Yeah.
That was difficult.
Yeah, it's what I love about it is it's not a lot, that extra credit part. It's really, I mean, it's not a whole lot of reps, and they're all body weight movements, so it's all very attainable, and you can scale those movements, of course. And it's just like, it's a good little extra to push yourself, and it's really a lot. It's mental in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
it's
it
like
is.
Just pushing past that little bit extra.
It's like running. It's like, you know, like runners often say, you know, once you get past that first mile, you kind of push through and you get your like runner's high. It's kind of like getting your workout high.
Yeah.
And so you kind of push through.
It really helps having a community. I mean, that's what's been huge for us. We have a local community that's, you know, our local gym that we go to, and it's really like a family. We all sweat and, you know, suffer together.
Sometimes bleed.
And we kind of, as weird as it sounds, like, I think it'd be cool to create that for the wargaming, you know, community, where people are, you know, everybody's gaming together and a part of this hobby, but they're also thinking about, you know, leading these healthy lifestyles, and everyone's kind of challenging each other and helping support each other. So we're kind of trying to do that with the channel.
So trying to be like, you know, that support system for people who don't have a support system. Like, for instance, there's someone that we talk to regularly. He kind of doesn't have that support system as far as like the community, as far as working out. Like, he has a nice hobby base, you know, but he doesn't have a nice workout hobby, you know, a nice workout community and that kind of thing. So he'll reach out to us a lot, and we'll discuss things and kind of give encouragement. It also encourages us, because sometimes there's days we don't want to go either.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And we're not, like she said, we're not experts. We just do what works for us, and, you know, kind of go from there.
That's awesome.
But that's on YouTube as well. Just Wargamer Fit, all one word.
Already subscribed.
Nice.
Yeah. But no, I mean, yeah, that's really good. Yeah. I just, man, mine's all time. I just don't have enough time in the day.
Yeah.
But, you know, I do during work. I try to get up every hour, get my like 250 steps in at least.
Nice.
I try to at least climb the stairs up and down. We have 6 floors in our building, so I'll do it twice a day. That kind of thing. You know, I kind of keep moving and just keep my metabolism going.
Right.
At an older age, I'm going to get to that 40 age, so I got to, you know, keep.
But see, all of those things that you mentioned, like, that's fantastic. Those little things add up.
Yeah.
Well, and something that we do kind of save time is I say we, sometimes mostly me, because you've got other things going on, but like on the week, like on the Sunday before the week, I'll do meal prep. And so like I'll buy our groceries or whatever, and it'll be meals for the week. So I'll do breakfast, and then, you know, parse it out for the week, and then do lunches. Everybody's got their lunch for the week, and then everybody's got their dinner for the week. And I make about 3 different things, so you can rotate it in and out. And then, like, because you're on a different schedule than I am, and so you get home before I do. I get home much later than you, and so you can pull your dinner out, eat it, and go on about your doings. And then when I get home, I can do the same thing. And then we have usually 2.5 hours before we have to go to bed. Usually 2.5 hours before we have to go to bed. And so instead of spending that time cooking and doing this and doing that, that's our 2.5 hours to spend together. And so doing whatever we want to do for that 2.5 hours.
Like painting.
Yeah, like painting. Or like we should be doing painting, but we don't.
So
y'all are watching like the latest TV show. It's fine. We all know.
Right?
Yeah.
I got a message.
Netflix.
Got a message from Thaddeus. He said, so what I got out of the interview is that y'all need to put a set of dumbbells in the hobby shop for people to lift and when they play.
Nice.
Yep.
It's not bad idea.
Here's what you should do,
man.
Every time you lose a model, you got to do a push-up.
Or how about 20 push-ups for a command point?
Wow.
Well, I like that one.
This would be a problem because we have a mixture of super fit people because we have the military. And so then we have other people who are not so much.
Yeah.
They'll be like doing this, like, oh, 20 push-ups? I do 60.
Yeah, maybe let's see.
That's like Dave. That's like Dave. One time we were talking to him about fitness and things like that, and I threw out the word muscle up, and he was like, what is that? It was so, and he was like, you have to explain this to me. And I was like, it's a gymnastics movement. And we went through all of this, and he was like, that's intimidating. And I was like, okay, that's like elite level. I was like, just because Ethan can do a muscle up doesn't mean we all can. So
that was a muscle up. I gotta look it up now.
actually look up ring muscle up, because that will freak you out.
Or maybe anybody can do a burpee, and burpees are hard for everybody.
Yeah, burpees.
Don't say that in my presence. I did 6 years in the military, and we had to run laps and then do burpees.
Oh, that's awful.
And do burpees. Yeah, no.
The best thing is burpee box jumps, right?
Oh my.
Burpee box jumps.
That's making my stomach hurt now.
Yeah, I know, me too. I'm having like flashbacks of prior workouts.
Was it last week we did burpee pull-ups?
It's something
ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
You do a burpee, jump to the bar, pull up.
Yeah.
Burpee, jump to the bar, do a pull up. Yeah. That was like last week.
So muscle up is like ring one. Oh, that is cool. Use your body and use your core to lift you up to get you parallel, and then you do a dip and push yourself up and come back up. Whoa, that looks pretty hard.
You know how I can lift a lot, but I can't.
See, that's what's awesome. Like for me, like I'm better at gymnastic movements. I'm better at body weight movements, pull ups.
But it's like your body style,
right? But there's people who lift way more than I do.
Yeah,
of course.
Like you and I are not built for weight,
right?
Like we're not built for heavy weights.
Yeah, and so I think that's what's awesome is everybody has different strengths that you bring to the table, and you can find ways to leverage that and get stronger in other areas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And so like I was actually bringing some of the guys from the office to come work out with me and get them motivated, and they're all different sizes. You know what I mean? So they're way smaller than me, and they're like, "Oh, you're lifting so much." I'm like, "Dude, you're not even. You can't get to this point.
Right.
Right.
You're going to get to what point you can do, and it will be amazing for you. You know,
right?
Like the funny, like with Dave, I don't know if you guys seen that picture, but we're doing the arm thing.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That's funny.
And I was joking with Dave, and I was like, "Look at those guns." He was like, he grabbed my arm. He's like, "Your arm is big as my leg."
That's incredible.
Yeah, I stopped going to the lift with Jonathan. It's just depressing.
Well, see, like I'm like 100 pounds soaking wet, and so like my thing is if I can, if I can lift, deadlift 140, that's 140% of my body weight that I'm lifting. So that's good for me. But then there's this guy over here that's deadlifting 600 pounds. Well, I mean, for him, that's great. But for me, I'm never going to deadlift 600 pounds. I mean, I would be like Superwoman if I could do that. But I mean, that's the reason, like, we kind of preach, like Ethan said, you do what works for you, and, you fit what your body style works with and that kind of stuff, because that's what we do. We're never going to lift heavy weight, but we can do a lot of pull-ups.
Yeah.
You guys can run away from me. Right?
Right.
I'm really not a great runner.
I hate running.
Oh, I do too.
Ugh.
I'm really not a great runner. I'm really not. People think you should be a great runner, and I'm like, I'm really not a good runner.
After I left the military, I broke up with running completely.
That's fair.
Running out. So
retired from running.
Oh man, it tears you up because they just keep forcing you to run. They don't care. Like we're talking about body styles, right? I have flat feet, and like it jacked up my knees.
I'm sure, yeah.
And like I constantly had shin splints. They're like, no, you're fine, keep running on it. And then I had stress fractures. So it's a nightmare. I'm not built for running at all.
That's actually is what's kind of concerning about the Spartan race is like it's like is it 13 and a half miles?
I think so. 13
and a half miles. And like we were talking to someone in Adepticon who had done it, and like he was saying like what mile 10 his toenails were flicking off, and he was like, if you're attached to your toenails, then don't do this. He was like, but if you're not, go for it. And he said that he had like little fractures in his feet and different things. It's just because it's so much running. You think about the impact that you're getting every time your foot hits the ground. I mean, the ground's not moving, it's your body absorbing the impact. So that ricochets all the way through your bone structure, and so it's crazy.
Especially when you're heavier. They used to joke, even in the military, when I'd run past them, they said, they knew when Jonathan was running past because it sounded like a rhino. It was like, go.
Aww.
But you know, my friend's done a Spartan race up in Dallas, and he was telling me about it. That like, if you want to run during those sections, you can. A lot of people just walk to the next segment too because they're just like
rest,
so tired.
Yeah.
Just walk.
Well, I know
Depends on
like,
how much you want to push yourself.
I know like one time we did a warrior dash, and it's like a 5K, so it's not a
if that, it's much smaller.
And there's like what, maybe 20 obstacles
Yeah,
or less
like
sprinkled in. Well, one of the obstacles was swim in a pond, swim through a pond, and it was cold. And so you swim like, I mean, we're in Alabama. It's a pond, and you swim up. And it's not a small pond. In Alabama, we don't have small ponds. We have big ponds.
You got
so
gators
swim
too.
up to the middle of the pond, and then there's this floating thing. You remember you had to climb up the floaty thing and crawl over that, and then swim the other length of the pond. And you had all this nasty gunk, and it
was something.
Fantastic. It was,
Yeah.
Pretty gnarly.
And then we did the old barbed wire crawl in the mud.
Classic.
Trench crawl in the mud.
Yeah. My friend tried to get me to do it. I'm like, I'm too old for that, man.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
They are. Yeah.
Like tutus. Like they had on like costumes, and we were like, you're nuts.
Yeah, but that is, man, there's some good stuff. I know I did like a while ago, I did like a Metro Dash or something. It's kind of like in the city, but it was just like all obstacle courses. Me and my friend trained for like 3 months for it. Like the first like 4 exercises, like it was like you climb up a rope and then you go across this thing, and like by the end of it, like I was just like, so if we can't finish it, they're like, oh, you got to do 20 burpees.
Right.
So by the third one, I like fell, and I was like, I got to do 20 burpees. They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh god.
This is the whole day of burpees every.
Like,
But obstacles are like our jam. If the whole thing was obstacles, we would be absolutely fine with that.
For sure.
Next thing we're gonna see you like Wargamer Fit and Ninja Warrior course, right?
Yeah, that would be cool. We have a background in like obstacle sports.
Yeah.
And I would love to keep connecting those dots. I don't know what form and function that takes, but
the 2 friends that we were speaking of earlier in San Antonio actually ran a Ninja Warrior course down there. So so that was kind of the reason we went out to San Antonio a couple of times, was to, you know, be involved in that course. So that's pretty cool. There's a huge ninja community in San Antonio. There's a huge ninja community there.
Yeah, because of the one girl that won it was from San Antonio, right?
Casey. Well, Casey Catanzaro is from San Antonio. She doesn't live there anymore, but she was the first female to make it up the warped wall and get through a city qualifier.
And then a city final.
Yeah, and she finished in a city final as well.
She's a beast.
Yeah, she's like stands like right here on me. She's the tiniest little thing. But she's the sweetest little thing too.
Yeah. My daughter's in love with her because my daughter, she's 7, and she watches American Ninja Warrior like crazy. Like they built like a little park thing, and then they have it, and she tries to do it all the time. And she's like, I'll be a Ninja Warrior. I'm like, gotta train.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, she needs to keep at it. There are traveling leagues popping up everywhere now.
What is it called?
The National Ninja League.
Well, the National Ninja League, but the Wolf Pack.
They have a tour, but I don't know if they're doing that.
That's Megan Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they still doing that?
They still do that.
Okay.
Megan Martin, and I can't think of the other guy's name.
Yeah, it's cool. It's so much fun. And it's fun, but you're also getting an incredible workout.
It's really, and it's different. It's something that we never thought we would be a part of, but it's really cool.
Yeah. I think the ability to stay fit and then also do wargaming is very important, because I mean, you have those are 2 very social aspects, especially for hobbies and working out, that you need a good social community for each one.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah, and it's pretty awesome, I think, when people start to bridge those gaps, and you take your wargaming community and work out together and vice versa.
Because we know a group that started they started playing D&D together because they were working out together. And so it bridged into that. So I think that you could definitely, even if you started with a gaming community and you worked into being a workout community together, then, I mean, that would be a great way to segue.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Man.
Because you meet your like-minded peoples.
Yeah.
It is true.
Also,
it's amazing how many like-minded people you find and you don't even realize it, you know?
Right.
You're talking to someone and they're like, oh, you like 40K? I'm like, yeah. Like I did for my job, I just did a leadership development course for a year. And I got done with that. And there was a guy from England, right? And I was talking to him, you know, we were chit-chatting over beers and stuff. It was after one of our training courses. We started talking. I'm like, yeah, I really want to go to the UK. And he's like, why? And I'm like, I want to go up to Nottingham, you know, and go see the GW stuff. And he goes, you're into Games Workshop stuff? And like from then on, it was like the rest of the night we were drinking, pounding beers, and just talking. And me and him the entire time we're talking about 40K.
That's
and
awesome.
They were like, what are y'all talking about? We're like, toy soldiers. So, yeah, but it was just funny.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so
that's one of the things I love most about doing what we all do with YouTube and things is you meet these people from all over the world, and it's just you have this instant camaraderie with them over the hobby. I think it's just so cool, and
it helps that everyone's super nice. Everyone's usually super nice about everything, and so I love that aspect too. And I think it's just really cool that for one thing, we're playing a game and we're having fun, but also like it's just the community that we're building, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
For sure.
Yep.
To your point about kind of like meeting somebody randomly out there that, you know, is involved with the hobby and then having to explain to others that you're talking about toy soldiers. That's been a fun bridge to cross lately where people in our like professional networks and just our like surrounding ecosystem are starting to catch on to our channel. And it's and you know, they have zero context. So we don't like super publicize it locally because there's just not a community here that's you know, we've saturated the community locally, right? So most of what we're putting out is really targeted to, you know,
and like we have separate like I have a personal Instagram account. You have a personal Instagram account, and then we have our 40K couple Instagram account. And so the two really don't merge because if you look at one, you would never connect them.
Yeah, and it's like it's just funny though because you know you have those situations where you have to kind of explain like here's what this is all about.
Yeah, because it comes up as like this is a suggestion for you. So like people at our gym are like, what are y'all doing? Like, what is this?
But it's always really cool though because people are like, oh, that's really kind of awesome.
Yeah.
So that just reminded me of what you were saying about
it is funny.
Meeting somebody out.
It really is. It's but it's funny because like on my Instagram account, it's just 40K related.
Yeah. Like
there is even on like my personal Facebook page, like usually a lot of times like I'll get friend requests from people who meet me or something, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to accept it because this is my personal one because like it's pictures of me and my family, so I'm just like I can't get to that point. But you know, the more you talk to people, it's like the more you get to know them, and so it just kind of develops into that, you know. And then, but man, yeah, it's crazy because you know, like it's funny because you know my parents. I'm a little bit older, so my parents are in their 70s, right? And my mom comes over today and she's playing with my daughters and stuff, and you know, they're spending time with grandma, and she goes, "When is your show? When are you going to go do your show?"
That's
and
awesome.
I'm like, "Oh, don't worry, Mom, that's not until 9 o'clock." And she's like, "Oh, okay. I thought it was earlier than that." My mom will like, my dad and mom will like all this stuff. Like, it's funny because I'll like some of the stuff that Jonathan posts for the hobby shop, and my dad goes in and likes it too.
That's cool.
He likes magic events and other things, and I'm just kind of like, oh, thanks, Dad.
Nice.
We have a magic event coming up, and TJ goes, "I'm interested in going."
Right.
And like I saw his dad, "I'm interested in going." Like, okay.
Come on.
That's cool.
That's incredible.
It's funny that you say that about your parents because was it this past weekend?
Yeah, it was very recent.
My mother came to the house and she hadn't been down here in a while because we live about an hour from our family, and so they don't come down, you know, that often. But she came in the house and she looked in our hobby room. She was like, "What is all of this?" And she was like, "What is going on?" I said, "Well, okay." Just let me explain. And so I brought her in here and I showed her like our set and I showed her like our painted models, and she was like, you painted this? And she was like, how did you do this? She's like, I'm so impressed. And she was like, and what is all the lights? And she's like, what do you do? And I was like, I had to explain the whole thing. We had to, and then she watched our vlog from Adepticon, and she was like, I didn't know this existed. She was like, this is crazy. I didn't know you did this. She said, why didn't you tell me you did this? And I said, well, it's really hard to explain. And I was like, and she's like, what am I supposed to tell people when they ask me what you do? I said, just don't. Don't. I said, if they want to know more,
there's plenty of resources.
Don't subscribe to the channel.
Exactly. Yes.
Just go to the channel. Subscribe.
We'd be happy to tell you more about it if you'll just click this button.
It was funny. Like one of my nieces, we're going to go visit her this summer, but she lives in Canada, and she's about 19. God, she's 19 now, and so her boyfriend. I'm not sure they're still dating, but like when they first started dating. She was like, oh yeah, you're still doing that 40K thing, yeah. And she like sent her boyfriend my Instagram page and the link to FNP Wargamers, and he goes, that's your uncle? I watch your channel all the time, and
Awesome.
I'm like, oh cool,
You're famous.
Yeah, I was like, it's like cool. She's like, oh my god, if you ever come up here, you have to bring your stuff because I know he's going to want to play you. And I'm
That's
like,
incredible.
This is going to be kind of hard to do with kids.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's so cool. Well, I've found that there's an interesting shift happening now, and I think this is going to be a cool topic for our show at some point. There's sort of like a paradigm shift where people, I think, want to get back to these like tangible,
they want to get back
hands-on,
to
like face-to-face experiences. Yeah. And I think that that's one of the things that resonates with our more like the circles that would not necessarily get the hobby, but they do see the shift in, board gaming becoming a big thing. I mean, obviously,
like board gaming cafe. We have a board gaming cafe in Birmingham, and it's a huge thing. And people go in there, pull a board game off the wall, sit there and play. And of course, it's a coffee shop and it's a bar also. And so people just hang out, drink coffee and play board games, and that's a huge spot. And then every week, actually, it might be twice a week now, but they do a vintage video game night where they bring out all of the old consoles for video games, and you get back to basics kind of. And so I think our generation is kind of moving towards that. They want that more personal aspect instead of linking, which it's very, ironic. Instead of linking through a computer, they want that face-to-face contact where I can touch you and you're right there. I want to talk to your face instead of chatting with you on the internet.
Well, there's just something that you get when you're playing someone across the table that you just can't get playing Fortnite, on a headset, right?
So that's actually always been one of my biggest things. Like every time somebody asks me, okay, why do you play this game? Why do you do it? And it is, I feel like I have this conversation once a month with somebody, and it's one of the last platforms that you have where you're playing a game. So I grew up in the early 90s, right? And so I used to play Nintendo and Super Nintendo, and to play with a friend, you had to phone a friend, and they'd come over.
Right?
Yep.
You played with them. You had an interaction. You'd bump them. You'd be like, you're gonna lose. That fun stuff. And it's the same thing as that bit of nostalgia. It's the same thing, because I also played, Xbox, where I played online, headset and everything. Played Halo like it was going out of style. And so, like, it was fun, but it wasn't the same interaction as being with your buddy. And that's what Warhammer brought back for me was you have to play somebody. You can't just make it work. You have to be there physically at a place to play somebody, and you have that human bonding interaction. That's the biggest thing, because it's a game, it's fun, and you have to play with somebody.
Well, and think about the thing that gets me is every time you sit down and play a game of 40K, it's going to be different because it's human strategy. Every time you sit down and play a video game, there's only so much a video game can do based on the interworkings of a video game. I mean, it has, it's boxed in. A video game can only go so far. But human playability is something that you can't recreate.
Yeah.
Every game you play is going to be different, and there's so many options on how to play and so many ways you can play that every time you sit in and play, it's going to be different. And so I think that is the biggest thing, even with you take it outside the scope of Warhammer, you know, every time you sit down and play a game of Monopoly, it's never going to go the same way twice. You're always going to roll differently, or you're always going to land in a different spot.
You're always going to get a divorce, and your family's going to break apart.
Right.
And you're going to punch your cousin in the face. You never know what happens.
Right.
Well, I know, like, personally, like, growing up, my family had game night. Now, we played cards a lot. Like, we played, like, rummy, and we played, like, poker a lot. And then, you know, that occasional, like, game of life or like Monopoly when we really wanted to just test the limits on how long we could play a game.
Yeah.
Because Monopoly always went on for hours, and it was never like a clear winner. And because someone would always cheat, and it was my brother. But like the thing is like you sit down, you play a game, it's going to be different every time, and you're not looking at a screen and staring, and then when you look off, everything's wavy because you've been looking at a screen all day. You're actually getting something out of it. You're learning from it. You're strategizing. I always say that 40K players are going to be in the best case scenario when we have zombie apocalypse, because we're going to be military strategy. So they need all of us in an area to band together so that we can defeat the zombies, because we're going to be great at strategy.
Or learn to control them. One of the two.
Right. Access the warp and take them over.
Oh man. Yeah, you know, love our hobby. It's obviously, you know, you guys know how much it takes to do a channel, and how much it takes to run it and edit it and get, you know what we get out of it? Some bad comments. But you know what?
Some thumbs down. We don't like you.
Yeah, I didn't like your free content. I hated you spent 6 hours on it and filmed it for another 3 hours. I hated that. You know, like, oh, thanks, guy.
Be like, I hated it, but I watched it.
You know, but really, what it is it's a labor of love, and
for sure.
Always, you know, I always say it, we work hard for it. We get nothing from it, as in monetarial. You know, FNP has been up for over 3 years now, and it's been nothing but hemorrhage money.
Right.
So it's just one of the things. So it's spreading the hobby. Don't get me wrong, it's great because you meet so many people who know me, and like I had somebody one time come up, it's a great guy, and he's like, "Hey, man." Or he said, "Hey, Jonathan." I was like, "Hey, you know, how are you?" And he's like, "I don't want to sound weird, but man, I love your channel, and I feel like I know you, like real close, because you're always there in my room while I'm painting and I'm listening to you or whatnot." And I was like, it was such a surreal feeling to have that, because you're like, man, this person knows me, and I'm in their room, which it's weird for me anyway, still weird for me, you know. And even some of the guys were talking about in the chat, they were popping up saying, yeah, they listen to FNP while they're painting or whatever. So they listen to us, our voice usually.
Right.
So it's definitely an interesting feeling. And I'm sure you guys got the same thing. People recognize you. You guys are very recognizable, you know, so because you are a couple, and one of you has very bright blonde hair. So.
I don't know who you're talking about.
It's Ethan.
Right. But I mean, I totally agree though. It's really cool when you do hear from those people that are like, you know, you guys made my day by just being there to listen to while I was painting or whatever. And it's like, first of all, we're just flattered to be a part of your hobby time, you know, via the internet. Yep. But it's so cool. I mean, that makes all of it worth it, you know, spending all the hours shooting and editing. And
Exactly. That one person who made the year for all those dislikes of your hours of work, you know, it's nice to have those people that interact with you, you know. So it's
for sure.
Few people that they feel like inspired, or they see your models. Even like I'll post models on Instagram or whatever, and they're like, you inspire me to paint, or you inspire me to do this, and that's makes me feel good, because that's what I do it for, because I want people like, oh, that's a really cool model, I'm going to steal your idea, because I've taken other people's ideas, because it looks amazing. I'm like, wow, I'm doing that. So,
Yeah, that's what's so cool. It's like everyone builds on each other. In fact, on our weekly show, we do a thing called a community showcase, and people send us pictures of their models, and oftentimes they'll send, background that they've come up with. And that's one of my favorite things, because we get to see these things that people are so proud of, proud enough to send it for us to then put it on the internet. And that's so motivating, because I see these things, I'm like, this is just mind blowing. I need to be in there painting, and it always just gets me fired up.
And to me, it's not even about the models or the painting. Like, I love hearing the stories like this. There's this guy who writes in often and gives us updates, and he's gotten his kids involved. His name is Scott Jenkins. I think his name is Scott for sure. Yeah. I know his name is Scott, and he gets his kids involved and everything, and he gives us progress on how they're progressing and how they're so interested in the hobby and all this. And I just love those little tidbits of just love that come in for the hobby. And he's gotten his kids involved. He's gotten some of his community members involved, some of his, people that he works with. He's one of those true hobby heroes that you hear about. And I love hearing stories like that. Not even seeing painted models. Yeah. I like hearing the stories.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Nope.
That is really cool.
Well, guys, it's getting that time. And it was fantastic to have you two on the channel, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, hopefully we can do it another time.
Let's do it.
It was, guys, in the comments, check out Wargamer40k couple. Their YouTube link is in the comments, as well as right beneath that is Wargamer Fit as well. I went ahead and link that as well while we were talking about it. So there's both of them. Be sure to subscribe. They're absolutely amazing. Also go on Instagram, WH40k couple, and they're constantly posting. It's great. They have way more followers than us. So I think me and TJ might have enough to be 100 of your followers.
We're halfway there with me and you combined.
Yes. So.
Well, we just appreciate you guys having us. This was awesome. And I mean, when we first started, you guys were one of the first to reach out and just kind of encourage us and push us along. And so we really appreciate that. Yeah. And then getting to meet you guys at LVO was really cool. So
hopefully next year when we go to LVO, we can hang out a lot more.
Yeah, we were everybody was everywhere. It was so
we had so much stuff to do. It was crazy though, but it was good. You know.
Me and Phil were gonna hang out, and then we just everyone just there was so much.
Well, everyone's so busy.
Are any of you guys going to Nova?
I would like to. The hardest thing is for me and TJ is we got families.
Yeah.
Right.
So I have a little one. She's 21 months old.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Almost 2. When she hits 2, I'm not saying that month thing anymore, by the way.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and we appreciate you plugging the channel. And we'll definitely share once you get the video ready to go from tonight.
Yeah, definitely. It'll take about maybe 5 minutes after we close up and post it up, and I'll put a little thumbnail on it and stuff. So
Nova's the 30th of August, right?
Is that right?
Yes, and then it's from the 30th on to the first couple of days of September. It's really cool. It's a really cool event. We learned a lot about that. It's it's charity. It's everything that you spend at Nova goes to charity, and so that's what's really cool about that event. And so we're going for sure. We're super pumped about it.
That's awesome. So all right, guys, thank you so much.
My wife let me go.
Yeah.
Tell them it's for charity.
Hold on, when did it start?
It's for charity.
You know what? I may be able to swing that one.
Do it.
Do it.
Because school starts, I think, on the 20th. So yeah, I may be able to swing that. Oh, that may work.
I'm a teacher.
Go to Nova.
Look at him got his 5 calendars up, making sure he can go.
Yeah, I'm looking at calendars. I was like, wait a minute here. Let me look. Yeah, so maybe I can convince her to let me go to Nova. Maybe I should go to that instead of Wargames Con. What do you think, Jonathan?
Instead of Wargames Con?
Yeah.
No.
I'd rather go to Nova than Wargames Con.
What? Don't say that. Shh. John's probably listening.
Who's John? Who?
FNP John.
Why? What's John want to do with Wargames Con?
I don't know. He's running it.
Dude. Warzone. I'm going to Warzone. Wargames Con's the one in Austin in August.
Oh, Wargames Con. Yes. That's one in Austin, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's Bella Lost Souls too, so you may have to go for that one.
That is true. It is Bella Lost Souls. So. All right, guys. So
awesome.
appreciate everyone who stayed tuned, asking questions, a lot of comments, and appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. You guys
yeah, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Night.